What's going on, guys? Running it back with another replay. Beautiful. So Zarina gave us our little intro. She's fighting for all of the Kislev gods, the many varied pantheon that they worship. Very cool. Vampires worshipping the powers of Nagash, obviously. They're going to be coming in here with all their icky little zombies. They've got tons of Graveguard of various sorts, one great weapon, and what? No, just a handful of Graveguard, actually. I thought there were 3 units for some reason. Or really just 2. The Graveguard great weapons, standard Graveguard with silver shields, anti-infantry bonus, which is pretty nice for fighting stuff like Kislevite warriors at the least. Not going to do them too well against Zargard, and not really do all that well against Armored Kossars. Armored Kossars are just really hard to get through in general. So they'll be a little less than effective, probably. The Graveguard Great Weapons should be able to have some serious impact here, depending on what they can get into contact with. They can fight everything short of the Zargard Great Weapons there. Even the Watchman in the Night wouldn't be totally abysmal for the Graveguard here, because they do have just really good AP values. With a solid bonus versus infantry, they should be able to hit around the 40 melee defense. Be a pretty even fight, though, now I'm thinking about it. They both cost 950. I'd be curious to see who wins in the 1v1. It might be something I'll test sometime soon. Zarina is going to be moving in. She's just going to charge in. The Frostworm, very heavily armored monster. Very tanky, in fact. A really nice Ice Maiden's Kiss going down on the Skeleton Warriors as well. 24 kills on her already. And it looks like the Vampire counts are going to be gearing up for a push on to the number 2 objective here. Not going to fight in the middle here. I don't know about this. I mean, I guess Kislev can always just reposition quicker than you can. Your zombies are so freaking slow. Even Armored Kossars, who only have 30 foot speed, are going to be able to outposition you, so... making this pushback here, I guess, could work, but you're definitely going to need the passive healing from the Corpse Cart. Need the Master Necromancer to also shut some of the shooting down here. Especially these Armored Kossars, as they're just kind of blasting away at stuff on the way in. Oh, Stern's been here in the middle. That's where the other Graveguard was. I watched about 2 minutes of this game because of the promise in the title of the replay that this person sent me. So, this is about where I stopped. We get a really nice zombie summon behind the Kislevite warriors just to stop them up here and allow the Graveguard to make contact with them. Cryptors will struggle horribly into the Watchmen in the Night, but against Kislevite warriors, they have a really nice opportunity to uptrade with that big weapon strength they have. Collapsing in here, ready to do some damage. Getting it going for the Vampire counts, getting a nice surround here, but not really with the most efficient units. Watchmen in the Night are going to be able to persevere here pretty capably. I don't have magic damage to get around the Tithes Fizzres, but that's not really important since they are just zombies. We'll see how these guys are able to do, and here comes the big man himself. The Elemental Bear trotting in and throwing a breath attack down in the early moments of the game and obliterating the Feasters in the dust. Getting their HP down to less than half here, 438 value on one breath attack is pretty brilliant. I mean, these Elemental Bears are fairly expensive, so you definitely need them to pay off big time if you're going to be bringing them in. Out here on the middle, just an absolute stomp for Kislev right now. Streltsy just firing into the Graveguard while Zarina fights on top of these guys. Not too terrible of a fight for her. She is taking maybe a little bit of superfluous damage here. But hopefully if the Patriarch is able to rally, which he should be able to, I believe, then she can get a couple of Soliak's Lullabies, and that'll bring her back up to around 7,000 HP after both those casts are off. Master Necromancer getting pummeled here, really taking quite a beating. Trying to get off the ground here. The zombies actually holding him in place long enough for the Elemental Bear to make contact with this Hellsteed. Is he going to be swatted here? The Elemental Bear definitely could do it. Just a couple of attacks from this thing would lay him out. I mean, he's only got 2,200 HP right about now. 600 weapon strength. on the Elemental Bear. And mind you, this guy has no armor, so even the non-AP portions would be doing some pretty horrible work against him. Looks like he's just barely able to stay out of the jaws of the big monster. Big monster might just keep pushing him around, though. I think the Hellsteed is having trouble getting out of base contact with this big old bear. Finally able to, Master Necromancer gets back up in the air. Gets some kind of magic going down here. Oh, a breath attack. Beautiful angle. Getting some nice damage on the Mortis Engine. Honestly, could have been a little bit more damaging. It's better than nothing, I suppose. We do have some Zargar Great Weapons grinding in here with 1,092 value. Really nice stuff. Armored Kossars not doing quite as well, but still getting a decent chunk of value. And the Watchmen of the Night are just continuing to grind away against all of these Crypt Ghouls and zombies. Doing a very good job of holding up, while we do get a really nice charge from the Wardheim Beowulfs into the Stearnsman, and that's a really brilliant choice because the Darkblood Tainted passive is going to be mitigating that regeneration that the Stearnsmen have and any other incoming healing, which is just massive. I mean, that is an exceptionally rare imbuement. In fact, I think this is the only unit that has it, but being able to negate any and all summons, I mean, of course you're going to take that against the Vampire Counts, right? Beautiful zombie summon onto the Kossars, but that's not going to be killing that unit. Kossars are usually able, with their 30 melee defense, to survive zombie summons fairly easily. They take a little bit of damage, but nothing too terrible. They'll come off onto standby once the zombie summon wears off in about 79 seconds. Wardheim Beowulfs continuing to grind, very low on HP though. Probably not going to be able to win this fight, unfortunately. The White Kings did make their way over. And the White Kings, this is on the last hot patch, by the way, so no nerfs to them. Still very sticky and annoying with that extra little bit of HP that they did have previously. Their nerf wasn't too severe. It was a knockdown reduction chance. Look at this guy getting punted into the building over here. Oh my god, Zarina going crazy on him right now. 1,400 on Zarina. Elemental Bear's still going. 1,000 value on it. Really not that bad. It is quite expensive. You'd love to see it do a little bit better. Kislev losing momentum on the #1 objective here with the Cairn Wraiths grinding through the Kislevite Warriors. We've got Grave Guards, Skeleton Warriors, and the Conic Sign Stalkers, and some Crypt Ghouls moving over there now. But Master Necromancer getting shot out of the air here. Looks like playing a little bit too dangerous of a game and getting punished for it. Really unfortunate there. The Griffin Legion coming in now with their lances, getting a nice charge into the mix here. Definitely don't want to stick around against the Cryptars for too long, though. Pulling out of here would definitely behoove them shortly. They get really good damage on the Mortis Engine, though. Wow, this thing is getting hammered right now. Oh, the Streltsy up high here actually doing the majority of that work, I bet. Griffin Legion may be doing a little bit, but how much do they have? 453, maybe they got a little on it. That Streltsy unit, though, blasting down the Mortis Engine is just massive. That is a huge win after killing the Master Necromancer. No Corpse Carts left, and that's all the passive healing for the Vampire Counts. Now, we do have a triple cap here temporarily for the Vampires. Whether Kislev's able to recapture some points here quickly is going to determine potentially who's going to be able to take this game, because the Vampires can stuff pretty well with numbers, even in situations where they might otherwise look a little bit out of sorts. All the remaining Crypt Ghouls, Skeleton Spears, Crypt Horrors, everything crumbling away for the Vampire Counts now. And Zarina's still very, very healthy. No Solyax left on the Patriarch, but that is really effective healing from him. And we are going to get an engagement onto the Crypt Ghouls here, who will probably die in about 20 seconds after getting hit by the Griffin Legion. They aren't in a particularly great formation for charging down infantry. They still get a pretty good engagement. Get a beautiful Iceman's Kiss onto the Cairn Wraiths there, who take quite a bit of damage. And the Elemental Bear getting up in here, 250 kills and counting. Wailing away here. It's going to be fairly useful just for bullying the Cryptars especially. Crypt Ghouls, big monsters like this can be a little inefficient against infantry at times. It's really their collision attacks where they do the most damage to infantry, but against big, monstrous infantry units like the Cryptors, Elemental Bear is almost perfect for it. And in fact, I really think that the way to go about beating the vampire counts nowadays is by using these big monsters, supporting them with heals, dropping magic over the top of them to punish all of the blobbing, because vampire counts obviously don't have missiles. They have a very hard time with big monsters like this. Really, the only thing that would be super effective against the Elemental Bear would be something like the Blood Knights. And those can be quite an investment, so you should have opportunities to counterplay around the Blood Knights with your big monsters if you do it well, and keep them out of the worst overextensions that you might be tempted to throw them up in. I lost a couple of games pretty recently, as I'm recording this, in a tournament against the Vampire Counts. I was playing Beastmen. Beastmen have a pretty rough time, but I do feel like I might have been figuring some stuff out at the end. Curious to try it all out. With the Beastmen, it's probably Gorgons and then like Jabberslides and Chariots to clear out all the chaff units, while the Gorgons just bully any big stuff. Watchmen and the Knight moving in. Really, really good firepower from Kislev. Constantly moving up and just wailing away at all of the chaff here. Even if all the Streltsy you're doing is shooting down zombies, it's really pretty decent value. Because you can effectively take all that HP that the Cryptors have and kind of throw it out the window if they don't have chaff to fight on. Because these Cryptors are incredibly squishy without infantry support. Yeah, they've got regen, yeah, they got a big HP pool with, like, pretty solid stats overall, but it's that 30 armor that really hurts them, and 28 melee defense is next to nothing, so even something like a Kossar Spear would be able to poke them down pretty effectively. Griffin Legion pulling back, Zarina barely able to squeak away here. She should rally, which would be nice. Having a Patriarch heal for her would be best, but nothing on the field for her right now. Let's see if Suga brings out a Patriarch to heal Zarina up, but it looks like opting for the Horse Archers instead. Elemental Bear continuing to trundle around and beat things up. Corpse Guard looking to run away. This Corpse Guard has had an awful time. The first time around it came in, not really sure what happened to it, but it did die out here. On the side point, probably shot to death by armored Kossars, maybe some regular old bowmen. Because the regular bowmen are fairly effective against Corpse Guards, because the 45 armor and incredibly low speed. They are impossible to dodge with, so they get lit up pretty badly if you just focus them down. And killing these Corpse Guards, getting rid of that Vigor Mortis and Unholy Lodestone is massive. If you can kill those, then you have a pretty good time into the vampire counts. Because they're just not very good outside of all the buffs, all the heals, all the monstrous infantry support. Their infantry tend to just be very mediocre if they're constantly having to just throw themselves in with abandon like this. Get more spears, more warriors. Kislev, though, with the 2-to-1, and it's looking fairly firm. I mean, there's no real movement on the number 2 going on here. Number 1 is a little bit in flux. That's just because there's so much chaff over here. Got some Cryptars moving in. Provided that Kislev just trots something up onto the edge of the objective when needed, like these Horse Archers on the other side of the formation. Just slow up any potential cap weight flip here. They should be alright, but I guess they have a ton of cap weight here. Now that I'm really looking at it, I mean, they got a unit of Kislevite warriors I didn't even see in here. Standing toe-to-toe with the Streltsy, both of them pretty low on HP, but about equaling out to a full infantry and cap weight. And it's important to keep in mind the cap weight values, because obviously when you're relying on zombies, you're talking about 2 cap weight on each. It takes 3 zombies or skeleton warriors to equal 1 Kislevite warrior, or armored Kossar, or Streltsy, or anything like that. And that can be a big imposition, because if you lose cap weight as the vampire counts, and you get pushed off of objectives, counts can recontest. But when they, like I said, when they have to really throw themselves forward onto their opponent, that tends to be where they really fall apart, because They are a very grindy faction. They don't really alpha strike particularly well. And what that means is even in late game situations where you might be able to get the kind of units that you need up, like these Cryptors, to come pummel Armored Kossars, it can take ages just to get these points back, even though you're still competitive, despite what the value bars may say. I would guess that the vampire counts are realistically probably only about 1,000 down because of all the healing they've gotten. Could be a little misleading, but just the fact that they're still out here, they're doing a very good job of hounding down some of the Kislevite units here, like the Mornheim Beowulfs being nibbled on by the Dire Pack here is a big loss for Kislev. You got a lot of the infantry on that number 1 finally going down. Not really anything to replace them either. Suga is banking up some supplies. I'm very curious what he's going to bring in because don't want to lose this number 1 objective. You are going to get a cap on the number 3 though. Beautiful stuff. Crypt Ghouls and Skeleton Warriors moving up a little too slowly. Zombies being sent in, but not enough to keep it away from the Watchmen in the Night with 407 kills. Are you kidding me? That is a ridiculous performance, and I don't think they ever got unsummoned. I think they've just been out here the entire game like this. They're just raw dogging life right now. Wartime Beowulfs lose pretty badly. Most of that value's from their first life, too, so you don't really love to see that. Elemental Bear, though, with the Frostworm and the Watchman, should be able to chew up the Dire Pack, and I just don't see the Vampire counts being able to flip the points in time. You can see they're finally getting that number 1, but again, it's so slow. It's taking ages to get this. Even with the Cryptors, did beat down the Armored Kossars pretty nicely. Now they're stuck fighting the Snow Leopard, and the Snow Leopard is just dodging around, apparently. Being very irritating for the Cryptors trying to deal with it. They just can't seem to hit this thing. I don't know what's going on there. This is where a surround with your monster's infantry is really important because they can sometimes struggle to hit units that they're just fighting right in front of them, but monster's infantry, when they get a surround and they can attack the rear flanks of units, tend to rip them apart because of their weapon strength, so maybe a little bit more attention to detail on that could have helped out, but I think it was pretty much over anyways. Really, really well played by Kislev here. 455 kills on the Watchmen of the Night. They're the real MVP of this game, though, I think. As good as this, I mean, the Elemental Bear basically got the same amount of value, almost. A little bit more at 2100. It did kill a Corpse Cart as well. Maybe even killed one of the White Kings, too. Just really damn impressive stuff from Suga. It's a pretty tough matchup, honestly. Vampire counts are very good. Very, very tricky. And difficult to deal with, so love to see it from both these players. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this matchup. And I'll be looking forward to casting some more here. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. So until then, GG's, peace, and take care.